Hello and welcome to my championship preview and predictions for this weekend. So we had the FA Cup and then we had a week away, or the Carabao Cup, none of which championship teams are featured. And then now we are back with a bang, and this weekend we have some great fixtures coming in the championship. If you haven't already, please smash the like button. I would really appreciate it. And if you are new around here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and get involved with the content. I would really appreciate it. The first game of the weekend is probably the biggest one of the weekend, and that is Leeds versus Derby. So Leeds are top of the league with 51 points, 2 points ahead of second place Norwich, and 4 points ahead of third place Sheffield United. However, they have lost their last 3 games in a row. They lost to QPR in the Cup. They lost 4-2 to Nottingham Forest, being down to 10 men there. And they also lost at home to Hull. The last 5 games for Derby, they have had 1 win, 3 draws and 1 defeat. But after a great win at Norwich and then a good point against Middlesbrough, they'll be looking to try and get a win here and get some revenge, really, for that 4-1 defeat Leeds handed to them in their first home game of the season, the second game of the season. Leeds went there and absolutely dominated them. Personally, I think Leeds will get back to winning ways here. I think they'll have a bit too much for Derby County. I'm going to go a 2-1 victory, and that would see them go 7 points clear of Sheffield United, obviously with them playing the next day on Saturday, and that would be a really big lead for Leeds to have after 27 games. So Leeds and Derby is my first game, and I'm really looking forward to that. Next, we have all of the other games are taking place on Saturday, I believe. And Saturday is going to be a big day of football, as you would expect. So Birmingham versus Middlesbrough is the next game. So Middlesbrough, they have had a bit of a bad spell of form, but they're starting to look a bit better. 2 wins, 2 defeats and 1 draw in their last 5 games. However, they are starting to pick up a good draw against Derby, and also a win against Ipswich and a win against Reading. So things are looking a bit more up after a struggling spell. They are away at Birmingham City. Now, Birmingham City have won 2 of their last 5 games and have drawn the other 3 in that 5-game spell. Personally, I'm not sure how this one could go either way, but Birmingham being at home, they would want to capitalise on maybe Derby dropping points at Leeds, and they are only 4 points off Derby, so they'll be looking at getting the 3 points, and I think they will get the 3 points here. I'm going to go 2-0 to Birmingham City. The next game is Brentford versus Stoke. This will be the first game for Nathan Jones, who has taken charge of Stoke City. Stoke City are in 14th place and have won just once of their last 5 games. After a rocky start for Frank's Brentford, taken over from Dean Smith, they've sort of turned a corner in the last 4 games, they are unbeaten, 1 win and 3 draws in a row. So they're starting to look a little bit better. But I think Nathan Jones' side will go there and get the win. I'm going to go 2-1 to Stoke, and that will see them go into the top half if results went their way. Bristol City take on Bolton in a game that will be replayed in the 4th round of the FA Cup. Bristol City are in 11th place and have won 2 of their last 5 games, both coming in the last 2, and 3 draws as well in that last 5. Bolton have won their first game since September on Boxing Day, beating Rotherham, and they have had 1 win in their last 5 games. Bolton, they are in relegation zone, and they desperately need something from this game, really, now that they are 3 points away from Rotherham, who are in 21st. But I don't think now they will come at Bristol City. I think Bristol City will have just too much for Bolton. I'm going to go 2-0 to Bristol City. Next game is involving the form side, and that is Hull City, who are in fine form. They won their last 5 league games, and they did go out in the FA Cup to Millwall. Sheffield Wednesday, they are starting to pick up. Very strange situation where Steve Bruce has said he will take the job, but not until the 1st of February, which leaves them a little bit in limbo. But since sacking Jos Lukai, they have looked a lot better. 2 wins and 2 draws in their last 4 games in the league. Personally, this one I can only see Hull winning. They're in absolutely amazing form, and their players are looking absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to go 3-1 to Hull. and I expect them to comfortably beat Sheffield Wednesday, who have looked a lot better in recent weeks. Ipswich take on Rotherham in a huge clash at the bottom. There's already 3 points between Rotherham and Bolton, and a win here could see them go 6 points clear if Bolton were to lose against Bristol City. Ipswich, they're absolutely desperate for points. They are 10 points away from Rotherham. But I'm going to go for a Ipswich win. I'm going to go for an Ipswich win, and that would see them drop the deficit from 10 points to 7 points. And they absolutely need to win this game or it's game over. They've signed several players, including Colin Quaner from Huddersfield. So they're trying to make things happen, and I think they will beat Rotherham. I'm going to go 2-0 to Ipswich. Preston take on Swansea. Two sides that have had very average starts to the season. Swansea are in 12th. Preston, who had a really struggling start, have looked a lot better lately, and they're down in 17th. Preston, their home form isn't too bad. However, they did lose to Doncaster Rovers in the FA Cup last weekend. Swansea City went to Aston Villa and absolutely hammered them 3-0 at the weekend and have won 2 of their last 5 games. Preston, their form isn't too good, 1 win in their last 5 games. But with Swansea on the back of that brilliant win at Aston Villa, I'm going to go for them to win. I'm going to go 2-0 to the Swans. Next game, we have Reading versus Nottingham Forest. Reading, new manager Jose Gomez in charge, and they have not won in their last 5 games. That's probably why he was sacked in the end, Paul Clement, and Gomez has taken over, and they looked really good at Old Trafford. I thought they had a lot of the ball, they created a few chances, but they lost in the end. But they looked much better than they have been in recent weeks. They'll be taking on Nottingham Forest. Now Nottingham Forest could go within 1 point of the playoffs if results went their way this weekend, and if they were to win. They have won 1 of their last 5 games. However, that win was against Leeds, who are top of the league. Personally, I think Nottingham Forest will go there and win. I'm going to go 3-1 to Nottingham Forest, and I still think that they'll be in the playoff picture come the end of the season. I think they have a lot of quality in that team. Sheffield United take on QPR, and Sheffield United were the victims of a giant killing themselves. It ended up being 1-0 to Barnet, non-league Barnet, knocking out Sheffield United. An absolute huge win for them. But in the league, they have been absolutely brilliant. 3 wins, 1 draw, and 1 defeat in their last 5 games, and they have won their last 3 league games in a row. Beating Wigan 3-0, beating Blackburn 3-0, and beating Derby 3-1. So 3 excellent results for Sheffield United, and if Norwich were to drop points, they could go into the automatic promotion side places. But they come up against a very good QPR side. 2 draws and 3 wins in their last 5 games. Personally, I think this one could go either way. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go 1-1. And I think this one will be really tight. A huge game for Sheffield United. If they were to get in there, if Norwich were to drop points at West Brom, then that could be absolutely massive. And speaking of West Brom versus Norwich, that is the next game we're going to have a look at. So Norwich are in 2nd, and they're just starting to fall away a little bit from Leeds. They have not won in their last 3 games and only won 1 of their last 5 games. And they are being pressurised by the likes of West Brom and Sheffield United. Sheffield United, if Norwich were to lose, would go ahead of them, and West Brom would be level on points but have a slightly better goal difference, so they would also go ahead of them. Absolutely massive game at the Hawthorns. I'm going to go for a West Brom win. I think Norwich just aren't good enough to maintain their momentum at the minute. They are relying on a lot of youngsters at the minute, and I don't think they'll be in the automatic promotion come the end of the season. I'm going to go 2-0 to West Brom. So that's my prediction for that one. And the final 3 o'clock game is Wigan versus Aston Villa. Wigan are in absolute terrible form. Their last win was on the 28th of November, and since then they've had 2 draws and 6 defeats in all competitions, including 1 in the FA Cup. The things are looking very bad, and they are just 4 points off the drop zone. Wigan, after a good start, they've totally fallen away. 1 point picked up from their last 15 available. It's not been good enough from Paul Cook's men. Aston Villa, they are in 10th place, and a terrible defeat at the weekend against Swansea, but they will be boosted by the return of Tammy Abraham, who has decided to stay. at Villa Park instead of going over to Molineux to play for Wolves. They have had 1 win, 3 draws and 1 defeat in their last 5 games. Personally, I think Villa should be going there and getting the win. I'm going to go 1-0 to Villa, and that would be a huge step in the right direction after that terrible defeat. The game on the TV is Millwall versus Blackburn. So Millwall, they are struggling down there. They are in 19th place, but they have cause for optimism, having won their last 3 games, and also in the cup as well. That's 4 games. Reading 1-0, Nottingham Forest 1-0, a 3-2 win over Ipswich, and then a 2-1 win over inform Hull in the cup. So they are looking much better. And they take on a Blackburn side who have only won once in their last 5 games. Personally, I think Millwall will get the win here. I'm going to go 1-0 to Millwall. And that is my predictions. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you haven't already, please feel free to have a go in the predictions yourself. There'll be it'll be in the description. You can just copy and paste it, and there will also be a comment with it all in as well. So feel free to have a go if you haven't already. If you did enjoy it, please like the video and subscribe if you're new. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. My name is Mike, and I will see you soon.